Welcome everyone to another Conversations in the Void. I'm your host, Graveyard, minus Salem tonight. Make sure to say hi to him in the chat if you're watching it in the future. But I am pleased to introduce our guest for tonight, a man who loves cheesy movies just as much as I do, I think, potentially more. The lover of all movies, the cinema snob himself. Please welcome to the show, Brad Jones.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad we're able to work this out and we're here.
Yeah, for sure.
I know you're local, not that far from me. We're Chicagoland area.
Yeah, Chicago.
Yeah.
We were just talking about some con stories beforehand.
I'm doing it again. I the person that runs it, I get free press passes, so I can't complain too much.
Oh, very cool. Nice.
And I do love, I gotta say, your EGA poster back there.
Oh yeah. I when I started reviewing like the new movies in theaters, right to the right of me is where I do the snob stuff, and I'm like, okay, well the couch will be for newer movies and everything, but I'm like, well I got to put something in the background. Boom, EGA poster, perfect. Left over from when I did a video on 1962 in film. So the only wall in the world with EGA, and there's Windy City right there. There's Sleepaway Camp.
Oh yeah. It's EGOT. I mean, MSC38 obviously had a fantastic episode. And I was lucky enough to speak to Jackie Newman-Jones, who played the little girl in
Manos.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, she I've never met her in person, but she was really cool. She promoted a video that I did on Manos. I did a video that was like 10 awesome things about Manos. It was just like naming 10 positive things about it. So of course number one was John Reynolds.
Right.
And no, she promoted it quite a few times. She really liked it. So that meant a lot to me. That was cool.
Oh yeah, like I said, I loved her, and I talked to someone else that made one of the sequels to Manos as well with her, and I'm just like, never I think here I am 30 years later, watching the MSC3 version and be able to talk to someone about their experience with the movie.
First con that I ever did had Arch Hall Jr. at it. It was kind of one of the reasons why I picked that one. It was a Cinema Wasteland show, and that was kind of like you're saying, like all these years later, I'm talking to Arch Hall Jr. It's really cool. Like he signed my CD and everything. He signed my Sadist poster.
Nice.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah. So Brad, kind of before we get into the meat potatoes, I kind of let know a little bit more about Brad Jones, the man, not just the cinema stop. So how did you get into horror? What was your first horror movie? Do you recall?
That's a really good question. I think it was Friday the 13th Part 2.
Part 2.
Oh. Yeah. It just happened to be on like the USA Network that night, sometime probably the late 80s, I think. There's always I don't know if it's still the case, but I know back then there was, whenever they would show like a franchise on like the USA Network, there was always the ones that where it was like, I don't know if it's cheaper to show this one or if whoever is doing the programming, they like this one the best. So Friday the 13th Part 2 used to show a lot. So did Halloween 2.
Yes.
It's always more expensive to get the first one. Jump right into the second one.
Well, I mean, Friday the 13th Part 2 actually had Jason Voorhees, so that is the quintessential Friday the 13th.
Yeah. So no, my friends and I at school, this was in the slasher time period, so we were really, really, really big into those, and our parents pretty much let us watch anything. So we would have these sleepovers. We'd go to the video stores. We'd rent all of these movies by the truckload. And there was always something cool about the fact that our parents did let us watch this. So that like turned us into even more fans, in as much as like we're specifically going to the video store to rent the most absurd looking things on the shelf, where usually they're in a big box or a clamshell. That's when you know it's good. Tonight we're doing Nail Gun Massacre.
Yes. But I mean, that's awesome. I grew up with my parents not letting me watch anything of that sort. But, I had friends whose parents let us watch whatever we wanted. And I remember the first non-TV version of Halloween that I saw was Curse of Michael Myers.
Oh, part 6.
Part 6. Part 6.
You're not even jumping into the first part of the Thorn trilogy. You're jumping.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But for me, like I said, that was the first non-TV version of Halloween that I had ever seen. And I just go, and I was enamored with it. Even though most people agree that's the worst one, I, to this day, love it to no end.
I get it. I don't have much love for that one, but I get what you're saying. I do. Like there's I love Jason Goes to Hell. So
yeah, exactly.
It's like there's ones that people shit on that I still dig. Halloween 6, so it's a little sentimental might be a strong word, but only in as much as it was the first Halloween movie I saw in the theater. The other ones I saw before then. No, me and a friend of mine from school went, and we were mad. It was the ending. The ending was just like, we're sitting there like, what just happened there at the end? Like in a bad way. It's like I expect. It's not even in an artsy way where you leave Mulholland Drive.
Yeah.
And you're like, I got some theories. Like, no, this was just sort of like, I think the projector died. But I was also kind of like the dealer at my school in terms of movies like that, because I grew up going to religious schools. So for sure, there was a lot of students there who they're not having stuff like that on at their house. But I was a collector. I had all these movies on VHS and everything, and I was kind of the dealer for them. I'm like, I've got Chainsaw Massacre under my coat.
That's awesome. Though I said, it's interesting how people's jump into horror is. Like I said, I know in 1996 that this Danny Boyle was, aka Paul Rudd, was going to be as big as he is now. Oh, no, of course not.
For sure. Yeah. So isn't that the guy from Clueless?
Yeah, but it's like that's my foray to it. Like I said, and I went back and then went to the back catalog and go, okay, I'm gonna go do this. And I don't know about you, but like Northwest Indiana, the horror movie section was in a separate building for our.
Oh, interesting.
That you had to have they guarded that.
Yeah.
With if you were under 17, they would not let you in.
Oh, ours wasn't. I mean, I grew up in family video land. So it was all family video was all alphabetical.
Yep.
They would have ones on they had the back room, which was the porno room. Right. But that's where Caligula was. And no, they would have movies that had the sticker must be 18 to rent, and they'd be on the top shelf. It typically wasn't for horror. It was more like the Skinamax movies would be marked that. The only mainstream one I can think of where even on the new release they put that sticker on was 8mm. Understandable, that it would be that.
Yeah.
Great movie, but yeah, it's like, okay, yeah, I see that.
Yeah, like I said, yeah, it's awesome. Like I said, as soon as I was able to rent it myself, I went through every movie I could possibly find, because I debate this with my co-host on our other show. We do this show to watch movies that we didn't get a chance to see growing up, because if your mom and pop shop didn't have it, that was it.
Yeah, and I grew up in that, and I grew up in the height of the HBO Cinemax days. So if I wasn't seeing something that I rented at the video store, it was it's 1 a.m. and I'm catching Body Double on HBO, or I flip over to Cinemax and we're watching Bikini Car Wash Company.
Yes,
or a movie with one of the Shannons. Like tonight, it might be Shannon Tweed and Scorned. Tomorrow, it might be Shannon Weary and Animal Instincts.
That's awesome. So these are tough questions here. Okay, so you're horror movie buff. What is the most overrated horror IP or franchise that you can think of that just go, why is this making $2 billion? It's a safe space. You can say it.
There's franchise. There's ones that I just simply like better than others, but even then I can find some in there that I like. It took me kind of a while to warm up to the Scream movies.
Mm-hmm.
Admittedly, because I when I saw the first one in the theater, I do remember liking it. And I remember liking the second one a lot too. And then after that, I wasn't so much into like the knockoffs. Like 80s slasher movies I love, and some of the ones from the 90s. But one of my other favorite genres is 80s sex comedies. And they're similar to the slashers.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
The only difference is like in Porky's, a killer doesn't show up. But if it had, it would have made that movie even better. So a lot of those kind of late 90s, early 2000s ones at the time I wasn't so much into. So as the years went on, I kind of was just mentally lumping Scream in with all of those.
Mm-hmm.
Then I did a couple of them for the site and was like, these are pretty good. Like some of them I haven't seen since they came out. Like I remember not being a big fan of Scream 4.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if maybe I like it better on a rewatch, but I wasn't into the last one. Was 6,
Yeah.
the one in New York. I like 5 a lot. 6, not really. But I can usually find some in there that are. I've been going through and all of these I've seen before, but I've been going through and doing episodes on all the Final Destination movies, and great creative death scenes in all of them.
Right.
And the first one's really good. It still holds up. Especially if you're like me and you have a fear of flying. Like it really nails it. It really does nail that anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow I'm editing an episode on the 3rd, and in writing these episodes, I was like, I didn't think about this. This is like reviewing the same movie again and again.
Yep.
It is the same formula in each one. And I'm right, even in the 3rd one, I'm like, I got a few more of these left. I'm already kind of running out of jokes.
Oh yeah, it's for sure, and I get that. My co-host, I don't think he's seen anything past the first one. I don't know if you've even seen the first one, so it's gonna be interesting to see him with a fresh pair of eyes 25 years later watching it for the first time. For me, the hardest movie franchise that we did, because when we do a franchise, we do all the movies over at like once. The Exorcist.
Oh, that was the hardest one.
Oh, and once you get past number 1, there's nothing good after it.
I love 3.
I mean, it's a good bright spot, but
yeah,
especially because we lead up to Believer had come out when we were doing that.
Yeah, that was bad, dude. So Believer, man, the first 20 minutes I was kind of into when it was like a missing persons movie.
Right.
I was like, this isn't bad. Then when it turns into an Exorcist film,
yep,
man, it's got the single worst line in the entire franchise. When it's with the scene with Ellen Burstyn, where she's talking about how like the priests wouldn't let her in when Reagan was being exorcised, and Ellen Burstyn in this movie says, I think it was because of the patriarchy. I'm just going, they both died.
Yeah.
Saving your kid. What good would have come out from you being in there?
Yeah.
Stupid,
and she's just there to get stabbed in the eyes. Let's face it.
Oh my God. Yeah, dude. At least I respect the second one, because it was really ambitious. Like Borman had a lot of ideas of that movie.
Yeah,
he put them all in there, or he tried to at least.
No, he swung hard, missed, but he
did, and I can respect that. Like that, I at least respect. It's I'll give it this about Exorcist 2 as well. I think it's a beautifully shot film.
Yes.
The cinematography, I think, is among the best in the series. Story is a little muddled.
Yeah. So then, Brad, on the flip side, what is the most underrated horror movie that, in your opinion, if you find out that that someone hasn't seen this movie, you make them like sit down, you're watching this right now, and they'll watch it.
I usually say my go-to answer on that is usually Messiah of Evil. That one I just thought, it's still to this day, I think it's so creepy and so surreal, and just like the opening scream at the beginning is chilling. It's I'm looking at it right now. I've got, because it's a public domain movie, I think I have like 20 copies of it, not like intentionally, just like if you get a horror box set, it's probably on there. That one I've always thought was like really underrated. I always thought it should have been looked at as one of the better horror films of the 70s.
I have it on Laserdisc.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Laserdisc collector. I probably have like 400 horror movies on Laserdisc, just because. Why not, right? Media. We're old enough that we have to have physical media, I think.
I've still got my I'm a big box VHS collector and some clamshells, so I still got a bunch of those set up. I was a really, really big DVD collector, and then in 2008, they all got stolen. And I was in between jobs at the time, so didn't really have the money to start up that years-long project again. So I was like, I'll turn to something else here. I started collecting big boxes.
That's I think those are great, and VHS don't last as long as the Laserdisc. Surprisingly, I feel like they only have so many plays in them, and that's sad.
They get a little grainier. They can get scuffed up more than a DVD can. There's more because VHS is the box, and also the tapes themselves are so guarded with the plastic around it that they at least, I don't have to worry about them getting scratched, or if the film breaks in it. I remember I used to be able to just get the screwdriver, fix it. Oh, it's good. The tracking might just have an issue for a second.
I remember some of them being eaten by my VCR.
I was just gonna say, I worried more about the VCRs than I did the tapes. The tapes, I was like, oh yeah, it might be grainier over the years, but still watchable. It's the VCRs you have to be careful with.
For sure. All right, so Brad, kind of getting to meat and potatoes here is, you're doing something that I thought about doing back then when you started in 2007. You're almost at 800 episodes at least of Cinema Snob. So how did that come to fruition?
Well, going back to being in between jobs at the time, this is kind of it. Let's see, this was 07, 08 or something like that. And there wasn't a show at the time, or not a lot at least, that focused on the type of stuff that I had in my collection. My first episode was Burial Ground Nights of Terror, so movies like that. And I thought it would be cool to spotlight some of those, but humorously, like a lot of us were then. So the character that I created, and the character's definitely evolved over time to kind of be more me, but snarkier and a little. He's still a snobby character, and he still has the snark and everything like that, and he still says dumb things once in a while. But so I was really, back then I was really playing up the pretentious movie critic angle, just this guy who's probably an art house guy who's stuck watching things like Porno Holocaust. And again, that evolved because he can't do that for going on 20 years now. So the types of movies that are spotlighted evolve, the type of character it did. I had done some movies at the time. I had directed 3. At that point I directed 3, and they were a lot darker. My acting experience was more dramatic. I usually played a bad guy and
Okay.
stuff, or like a really like sleazy character. So in playing the Cinema Snob there at the beginning, it was a lot of me kind of figuring out my comedy voice and
Right.
timing and all that. And now it's gotten to where like, yeah, I could play this character in my sleep.
Yeah, but that's awesome. Like I said, people that know me in my show, like in 2007, this thing called YouTube was just starting up, and
Yeah.
I did theater and drama in high school, and
Yeah.
I was a backyard wrestler too, because those go hand in hand.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And I had a character that was called Scream. It's literally the Scream costume. And in
Mhm.
2007, I go, you know what I should do? Is we did a skit. It's called Scream Sees Saw. So he watches Saw for the first time and tries to enact it his own way and fails catastrophically
Yeah.
with it. And so we did that. We had it up YouTube. And I go, you know what? I think I should have this character just review horror movies and what he would have done differently to win in the movie.
Yeah. Nice. Oh, that's very cool.
And we started doing stuff on YouTube. And like, this isn't going anywhere. So I stopped.
Yeah.
I'm just like, and looking back, yeah, I kick myself now. And it took me about 10 years to get back into it.
Yeah, there at the beginning of it, there was no monetization or things like that. Like we did it because we really like talking about these. And in my particular case, it was also kind of luck. Like there's a buddy of mine named Joe, and he accidentally left his camera at my house around that time, and it was a camera that had an adapter on it that could hook up into the computer. So when I saw that, I was like, let me take advantage of that, because I kind of had the idea for the Snob for a while, but then him accidentally leaving that camera there, I'm like, I can actually kind of give this a shot now. So I did, and I shot Burial Ground and Porno Holocaust in the same day. The reviews were a lot shorter at the time because YouTube had a time
10
limit
minutes.
back then.
10 minutes.
Yeah. So they were written way differently than they are now. It's very non-linear. And so I really, because it's not like at the time I had the funds to go out and buy a camera like that myself. So this dude I really kind of owe for like the last like 18 years of my life.
Yeah, but that's cool. Like I said, I wish I would have stuck with it. It would have done it and continued that trend. But like I said, I've gotten back to, I think since in 2023, between the different shows I'm on, I was doing 6 to 7 shows a week on YouTube, which was awful lot. My wife will tell you that too. It's an awful lot for me to do. Because I was, putting in 30, 40 hours a week just for content on top of my day job. And it's just like, this is unsustainable for me. So,
when I first started the website, the cinemasnob.com, which is now just an archive site, and our store is on there. But when in the Blip TV days, where things were hub sites were more popular, where it's like you go to the cinemasnob.com or channelawesome.com, that's where the videos are. Now with everything migrated to YouTube, people just go to YouTube. But when I started that site, the cinemasnob.com, I was throwing a lot of stuff at the wall to see what sticks in terms of just having like a new episode of something up every day. And I am afraid to go back and look at all of those. I'd be like, what the hell was I thinking? Clearly I ran out of ideas that week.
I mean, did you ever envision when you started this, you'd be doing this 18 years later?
No. I mean, you like to hope that like it catches on and like finds an audience or something like that. But I didn't start out with it thinking really with that mindset. Because again, like I said, the monetization wasn't a thing then. So it was just sort of like kind of a fun little thing to do. Like, let's do this show, see if people like it, and if they do, great. If not, I like doing it. So yeah, I'll keep doing it, because I did it for 2 years before it became my full-time job.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it wasn't until moving over to Blip TV,
Mhm.
because I did it on YouTube for a couple of years, and then one video got hit, and back then, when something would get hit, they just take your site down. And that's what happened. It was for Nail Gun Massacre.
Uh-huh. Great movie though.
Yeah. So I did a video on that, and then there was a copyright thing, and the YouTube page went down. And then when that happened, I was like, well, I guess that was a fun ride. Then I got an email from Spoonie, Noah Antweiler, who I had at that point I knew who he was, but at that point I hadn't met him or talked to him or anything like that. So I didn't even know. I don't think I knew he watched my show. And he wrote to me, and this was great. Like, he wrote to me and recommended Blip TV, and I went over to Blip TV, and then was able to start doing it full time.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I mean, let's face it, there are people that pay homages to you and your character on the internet. That's a nice.
They shave their heads, and they shave their heads and everything.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I can't talk, so
yeah.
But like I said, it's just astounding for you having this character for so long. And I have to ask you this, because like I said, I've done, we do 3 or 4 movies a week, and for 150 weeks at this point in time. Do you ever get to sit back and enjoy a movie, or do you always have the creative mind going when you watch it?
That's a really good question. So every week I'm watching something for the Snob. I'm also doing a lot of writing on like the 80s and film series and stuff like that. And then on Fridays, I'm at about 4 new movies. So yeah, I spend my whole Friday at the movie theater. At the least, I'm at 3 movies. Typically it's 4. Because of that, and I love movies. It's my job and everything, but because of that, when it is my downtime, I'm typically watching like a television show or something, because when I have a movie on, it depends on what it is. If I'm watching something I grew up with, like from the 80s, like that's one thing. I could go in there and put on like Day of the Dead or something like that. And, I'm not really going into work mind or anything. Like, I'm that's cool. But if it's any, if it's something that's on, maybe I missed it in theaters or something like that, it does sort of feel like work, because my brain kind of goes there in like review mode. So yeah, I'm usually watching like, before I go to bed, I'll put on like, I don't know, Spring Baking Championship or something like that.
Yeah.
Damn right, dude.
Yeah, because I noticed, like, when Alien Romulus came out.
Yeah.
And my co-host and I went to go see it. We're both huge Alien fans. Like, I have tattoos, and my all horror sleeve on this one, but my sci-fi leg has an Alien and Predator.
Yeah.
And we're going to be doing this movie, and we go, okay, so how do we tackle this? So we go, okay, we're going to watch it twice in theaters. First time to enjoy it as Alien fans.
Yeah.
Second time to take notes and all that stuff. So I have found it harder, even only done having 145 episodes, harder for me to turn off that note taking, that analytical part of it.
Yeah.
And then just enjoy something for what it is.
And in my case, like the riff part of it, like a joke might be going through my head. Yeah. So I'll see something in theaters that I know I'll probably spotlight later. Like off the top of my head, like Thanksgiving. Like when I saw that in theaters, like I would just kind of instinctively have like a line or a joke or something like that in my head, and then be like, I hope I remember that. And then a couple of years later, I did do an episode on it. I don't know if if any of the jokes I wrote down were the same ones in my head.
Yeah, it's this interesting world to live in when you do this, especially for
Yeah.
you as a career. For me, just as a passion project that I'm doing and kind of slowly building the podcast for it. But it's just like
Mhm.
it's something that's hard to keep separate, And I do this show, and I talk to a lot of independent creators and
Yeah.
independent movie makers, and people like, oh, you should watch my movie for your other show. I go, if you listen to the other show, we're not very nice to the Hollywood movies.
Right.
And I go, so I'm like, if it's a movie that I personally know someone involved with, I don't do that review on another show.
So I've had to have this thing in my head too, where when I pick something new, like on VOD, like, okay, last year I did Amityville Turkey Day.
Yep.
I was thinking when I'm watching, I have to remember that when it's something like that, there is a good chance the people who made it and are in it are probably going to see this.
Yeah.
It did happen with that. One of the actresses from it was actually really cool about it. Like isolated a clip of the review and put it on her Instagram. That was cool. More often than not, they have like a sense of humor about it. There's been a couple times where it's like he wasn't happy.
Yeah, like so I feel no qualms, making fun of M. Night Shyamalan's movies at all. But like I said, when it's especially when it's an indie found footage movie, because that's the group I'm part of, I go, I can't sit there. So I'm like reviewing it and talking to people like, do we know anyone in this movie, like involved with this movie? Like, no. I'm like, okay, good. Right now, I don't know them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you taken, you said you've written some movies, and then with all your movie watching and you made movies later, has that what you're looking at kind of changed your film style over the years?
No, but I will go. So the couple of things that I did that I wrote but didn't direct, stuff that had like a bigger budget than stuff whenever I've directed something, it is micro budget as hell.
Same here.
So when I wrote some other stuff that again had a little bit more money behind it, and I get the rough cut, I kind of am watching it with that mindset, like doing this for a living. It is kind of me sitting there going like, okay, if I had nothing to do with this movie and I'm sitting here writing an episode on it, what would be things that I would like be joking about or picking apart, like little flaws that I'm seeing here? I am in that mindset of like, what would I go after? So yeah, it's kind of changed a little bit in that aspect, but I think that when I've written I haven't done a movie in a long time, but when I've written like the books and even some other scripts and whatnot, I think I'm still kind of in the mindset of when I was doing this before the Snob, other than I have a lot more experience now. So, I think there's some stuff I've written now that is probably better than something I wrote, and guess that's up to maybe someone would say opposite, or maybe they'd say it all just sucks. But like, or maybe they love all of it. But I think I've grown as a writer over the decades, which is normal if you keep doing it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like I said, I was lucky enough to start working in some of the independent film industry a couple of years ago, And and that was before I started doing the show and all that stuff. And I'm looking back, I go, you wear multiple hats in the independent world. You have to do what you need to do to get the movie made.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way. That's my take from it too. You can go, okay, I can understand, some of the lower budgets having the issues they do, and that's okay. Like I said, when it's a $40 million movie, you shouldn't have that.
Or like I mean, I know about like the micro budgeted world and everything, and really working with what you have. That was like every movie I did in the 2000s for sure. It was total guerrilla style, which was easy to do in Springfield, Illinois. Like it was easy to kind of get around and do a lot of stuff guerrilla. No one asked for permits like in that town. Like so but oh crap, brain fart. It happens much sooner than this, so I'm glad the brain fart came in later. I can forget what I was gonna say. I know what I was gonna say. But then there are some mistakes where it's like no matter how small the budget is, that shouldn't happen. Like off the top of my head, what was this movie? It was a Dakota movie, 1818 Bigfoot Island, where it's a guy in a Bigfoot costume is going after some guys who like showering together. And so one point you see the door, this glass door behind a character, and on the other side is the box for the Bigfoot costume. When that happened, I was like, let me give this the benefit of the doubt. Maybe that's a clue. Like maybe the twist at the end is that it is a guy in a Bigfoot costume. And no, that wasn't. Things like that where it's like, okay, like I don't think I've ever done that in a movie.
It's as I said, having written some assistant directing myself too. I'm just like, I am very now critical in my thought process of like, okay, what, as you said, you own that mindset, like what would I like to see in a horror movie? What would I not like to see in a horror movie? And when I'm writing something, I go, like, I'll write something out. I go to my group of friends. I go, okay, I've watched too many movies. Did I accidentally steal something from a movie that like I don't want to do? Like if it hasn't been done, I'd rather do that than something that's just been the same thing repeated and repeated. I don't need to make Amityville clown house in space, but
I've seen Amityville in space.
But it's just I want to do something different in my take on it. So I'm always that concerned when I'm writing, like, did I accidentally get influenced by something not realizing it?
Well, it's also kind of giving your own take on something, like you said. Like my first book was Class of '86, which is like my take on slasher like Slaughter High mixed in with like a low budget post-apocalyptic movie. I wanted to go that angle with it, and some stuff I did in the 2000s. I did this 80s cops and hookers movie, because I like that genre. It's like, okay, let me do something that's like a lot of these movies that I love, like Vice Squad or something like that.
Yeah, it's a love letter.
Yeah. It isn't just doing the same thing again, really. Like, but just your own kind of addition to that genre.
Yeah, so I had something like that because a couple of years ago, we had our Ring camera caught a person at our door that scared the shit out of us when it happened.
Yeah.
And I go, okay, so I know the story. I kind of made that into like a short film. And I go, this is what I want to do. So I was like, oh, it's just like that. I'm like, here's the video. I have the video on my phone of the event that was the inspiration. They go, did that person have this video that caused it? No. All right.
Yeah.
Because it was a girl who walked in front of her door, screamed at the door, and started ringing, saying, "Help me, help me, help me."
Yeah.
At like 2 a.m. And we're just going, this is classic bait, like someone at the back door trying to get in, so and all that stuff, and just go
Mhm.
called the cops. Apparently, she came from across the state,
Yeah.
was shoeless and didn't know where she was. All that stuff. I'm just going, but when you're woken up by your doorbell at that point in time, you know what the hell's going
Oh
on.
yeah, it's like I've seen The Strangers.
Yeah, I think that's more inspiration than the Strangers actually had. Because Strangers was someone knocked at the door one night. That was it.
Yeah.
So, but no, it's awesome. Like I said, it's just that creative juices that you'd like to get flowing. That's my outlet, and I started doing it years ago, and like I said, I'm glad to finally be back to it.
Yeah. I still love doing it. I do.
Mhm.
That's the thing. Like been doing it for a couple decades now. And I'm not like tired of it. Like I'll have my weeks where it's like, I need to take a break or something like that. Like maybe and whatnot. But as a whole, yeah,
Mhm.
I still love doing it. There's, and I'm sure you know this too, like where it'll involve a movie where it'll feel more like work than something else, but the job in and of itself,
Right.
no, I've got no plans to stop.
There you go. Now, do you feel that Hollywood has run out of ideas and it's up to independents to tell the unique stories now?
Well, yeah, the most interesting movies that I go see are the ones that aren't playing in every theater across the country. It's more so not. I don't think it's so much that Hollywood has run out of ideas. It's more that they don't like taking gambles anymore because there's just so much more to compete with now.
Mhm.
They have to compete with streaming, really kind of cheapening the medium a bit.
Oh,
Um,
well, Sci-Fi always did that for us. The Sci-Fi Channel.
I more so mean because stuff on Sci-Fi Channel weren't really affecting what kinds of movies go to the
Yeah.
theater or anything like that. And so, now there's this much shorter window between theatrical and when something goes on streaming. Yeah, there's good things that are on streaming, a lot of mediocre stuff, but you can find decent stuff on there. But like it's that small window of between theatrical and then going on streaming and just kind of competing with that medium in and of itself. So you have a lot of these major studios that like playing it safe. They like
Mhm.
playing it safe because gone are the days where something was in theaters for a really long time and collected a hell of a lot of profit over there. Now it's mostly about that opening weekend or the second weekend, and they know right away if something is a hit or if something tanks, and then it goes right to streaming. They've created less dry movies. The fact that there's so many movies and it is more accessible means that there is less drive to go to the theater, and it has kind of made them feel like less not theater. I still love the movie theater. The movie theater is my preferred way to watch a movie. It really, really is.
Mhm.
But they have made not theaters, but the fact that you really only have to wait like maybe a few weeks and you might see it on streaming, it has made movies feel less like an event and less special. Um, they're trying to make them feel more like just content that you put
Mhm.
on in the background. Whether it's good or bad, you might forget about it in a couple of days at the most. So, um, because of that, there's a lot less riskier movies coming from big budgets. There's a lot of original stuff out in theaters. I go see 4 movies a week,
Mhm.
and it's rare that everything I go see in those 4 movies, it's rare all of them are bad. There might be some cool stuff that I walk into like totally cold, not having seen a trailer for it or anything like that.
Yeah.
And it'll be kind of awesome. Like I saw this movie a couple weeks ago called The Ugly Stepsister. That's
Okay.
a like kind of Cronenberg style retelling of Cinderella, but from the point of view of the ugly stepsister.
Oh, I heard about that.
It
Yeah.
is so good, and I never got a trailer for it beforehand. So I walked into it cold. So there's plenty of original stuff playing out in theaters. But the main thing that people kind of focus on is whatever the mainstream movie is out of the
Right.
weekend. And you know, a lot of those I still like a lot too. But yeah, they don't take as many risks anymore.
Yeah, which is a shame. It's a shame.
They're worried about it bombing. They want everything to look good on paper. So that way if it does bomb, people might not lose their job over it.
Right.
So you have the paper that says everything that we have written down here looks good. You know, this is a sequel to a major hit. It's got this person in it, that person in it. It's got this character in it. And so then it's like, okay, well, if this tanks, what are we going to do? Everything said it should have done well.
Except the budget being probably too high.
Yeah, that's another thing where it's like just they really need to major studios really need to bring the medium budget movie back.
Yes. Yeah, because it's essentially blockbusters and then independent. There's that medium, as you said, it's gone for the most part.
Yeah, from like at least the big tentpole movies for sure. Because like I said, I'm at the theater every week seeing stuff that probably does have a medium-sized budget, or you know, a lot of cases probably lower than that, but they don't have they're not the main thing out that weekend. There's not a ton of advertising behind it. You kind of got to look for it a little bit. It's all of them I've seen trailers for because I'm at, again, 4 movies a week, so I see 2 hours worth of trailers.
Yeah. All right, so Brad, we're about to wrap up here. So I'm gonna give you a little bit of time to promote your book. Tell us about your book.
Oh yeah, whenever I talk about it, I always have to ask beforehand. Can I say the title?
Yes, you can.
My book, Bat Pussy. So this was an idea I had for a long time, and I did an episode on a movie called Bat Pussy. It's a porno from 1970. Sometimes it's called like the first porno parody ever made, and it's also the worst porno ever made. I don't know if you've seen this movie, but it is just these 2 drunk yokels smack talking each other for like under an hour and just insulting each other left and right. The guy is so drunk he can't even get it up, and you hear the camera crew belch in the background, and then you got this girl named Dora Dildo who's Bat Pussy, who bounces around on a hippity hopper ball and has sex with both of them and falls off the bed. But anyway, no one knows who made this movie. It has no credits attached to it. So yeah, no, like who made this film? So that's what the book is. The book is, I thought it would be cool to kind of do this fictitious backstory of it, to just tell this story about these people and all the events that lead up to how this movie got made. It's totally fictitious. But no, it's all set in 1970, and when you watch the movie Bat Pussy, you can pick up on some clues, not of who made it, but when it was made. The movie opens with a guy reading a Screw magazine, and the date says September of 1970. So I'm like, okay, so I'll set the book in October of 1970.
Yeah,
that works out. I can set it around Halloween. It would be easy for them to get a cheap Batwoman costume.
right.
And so it's a story about this former B movie maker from the 40s and 50s who was off in Vietnam shooting a lot of kind of news documentary footage,
Mhm.
ends up coming back and is having a hard time getting that movie career back because those kind of B movies he was doing um they aren't the same kind that are getting made in
Right.
1970. So he ends up taking this job at a adult theater company where there's like this almost like gangland war going on between these adult theaters, and these events happen which lead him to having to go to Arkansas, where he and this hooker who's actually a method actress end up making this movie Bat Pussy, and she ends up being Bat Pussy in this movie. So I also got to give like the character, like the director is a fictitious character, but then there is me kind of giving stories to these people who are in the movie, like the drunk couple in it, or I'm like, I'll make them like local celebrities, like they're an insult couple that are big at the local comedy club. So you get to know their story too. And I didn't want to just write something where you're laughing at them like you do when you watch the movie. I mean, you do in the book because when it gets to the movie, that what happens in the movie happens in the book, just in novel form. But before then, I was like, I want to really try making these characters like they are in that movie, like you could see them acting in this and giving those performances, but also kind of making them endearing too. Like they're sort of like a kind of a toxic couple in the book, but it's like they are also made for each other. I wanted them to be really likable in the book, and then also give this story of this Bat Pussy character as well. And it gets, the book gets over the top as it goes along, but I thought I made a really, really cool book with this, and I released it in December. The feedback on it has been really damn good, so that that makes me glad it has better reviews than the movie Pat Pussy. I was really proud of it when I finished it. A lot of things I've done, whether it's a movie or a new series, or even my first book, because my first book I knew like that it would have some first book problems. I think it's a fun book, Class of '86. I think it's a really quick, entertaining read. But it was also me getting used to writing in book format because I come from the script world. And Class of '86 was originally written as a movie. I just adapted the script to the book and expanded on a lot of it. But I knew it would have there would be people who would really like it. I knew there would be some people who wouldn't. I knew it'd have some first book problems, so I could take what people liked about it, what people disliked about it, really apply that to the second one. So when I wrote the first book, I was like, yeah, I think people will find it fun, and there were people who found it fun. But I was like, but I could see people not liking this as well. With the second book, I finished that, and I was like, I think people are really gonna like this. This really is like one of my favorite things that I've ever done. And I was more used to novel writing when I wrote the second book as well.
Yeah. So is your goal for Bat Pussy to find you, to find out who these stories really were? Would that be like an ultimate thing for you, to like full circle?
because the real I didn't think about that, like, because I'm like, they're probably long dead.
But someone could go, that was my mom.
That's my mom. Like, bro, tell me you weren't conceived during this. And dude, I have a feeling the real story is probably depressing. Like, but I would love to know. I did find another movie that's got Dora Dildo in it.
Okay.
I think it's from the same director. But again, there's no credits attached to it. So I still don't know who made this other movie. I think it was called like Hidden Desires or Hidden Pleasures or something like that. It was a movie about it's just like a sex therapist, and some people go in there, and the therapist like sleeps with the wife, and the husband sleeps with the secretary. It does get weird where every now and then it cuts to an asteroid headed to the Earth. So and the asteroid hits the Earth at the end of it. So it's got random stuff like that in it, which makes me think it might be from the same director, but it is the same actress who played Bat Pussy, who was the secretary in this movie. You can tell it's shot around the same time because she's got the same tan lines.
Okay.
In both of them, but again, there's no credits attached or anything like that, so there's no way of knowing if it's the same director, but it's definitely the same actress.
You really uncovered Adam West's secret project.
I know, right? That movie, Hidden Pleasures or whatever it was called, like that one's not covered in Bat Pussy. It's just they go to this small town and make this rednecky porno movie.
Maybe they just need Zach and Mira to make a porno. They just need to pay rent.
Yeah, I did want to do, because when I set out to write it, I didn't want it to be just like The Disaster Artist, but it's about Bat Pussy or Zack and Miri. Yeah, both of those movies I like, but I didn't want it to be just those, but it's about a porn in the 70s. So the structure of it is way different than those. It's more about things that are leading up to when that movie gets made. And when the movie gets made, that's in the book, but it is later in the book when they're actually like rolling camera.
That's cool. All right, Brad, so let's get into these wrap-up questions here. I'm going to ask you really hard questions. You ready?
Yeah.
Practical or CGI?
Oh, is that the question?
Yeah, just
just really, I thought you
that's it.
I swear I thought you were about to pop up like a picture and I had to decide like practical. Yeah, for sure. I went easy on that Until Dawn movie that just came out because it has like a lot of practical effects work in it. Movie's not great, but I was like, I like the effects. The effects are good.
Yeah, I did watch that before the show too. Your review of it, and I said, this is 90th episode of this show. Two people have answered CGI out of the 90.
Really?
Yeah. One, that's his job.
Oh, okay. I get it. Yeah.
And the second was Bruce Flange.
Oh, Bruce likes CGI better?
Yeah. I was very shocked by that answer by Bruce.
Yeah. He wishes he had it back in the variety show days.
Yeah, because he was on the show and talked about Jack LaLanne's Halloween.
He's a cool guy. Yeah, Bruce Flange is a really fun guy.
Yeah, he is. All right, so if you were to make a movie in an existing IP or franchise, what would it be?
I would do a Friday the 13th movie. It's my favorite horror franchise. So if I were to pick, a movie to do out of any, I would do a Friday the 13th movie.
Would you pick up after Jason X? At Earth 2?
I wasn't thinking about that, but now that you mentioned it, maybe. I think I would be better at. I would probably be better though at. I would need some help on that because I would probably be better at writing like one that's in Crystal Lake more than like science fiction. I would need some help probably on that, but that's a good idea. I always wanted to see what would happen on Earth 2.
Exactly. Maybe he runs into a xenomorph. Never know.
Yeah. It probably would have happened.
Oh yeah.
They actually did do
or the predator race just picks him up and uses him as a hunter.
Yeah.
Why not? I mean, all of them met in comic books at some point in time. They can make it happen.
Oh, for sure.
All right. So You just talk about Friday the 13th being your favorite franchise. What's your favorite horror movie altogether?
Probably Dawn of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
The original.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one. Because excuse me, I just love that story of one, I love it's almost kind of time capsule-y now with the shopping mall. And I mean, we still got a lot of malls around here, but
Yeah.
looking at that nowadays, it's like that looks a little like the mall I grew up with. This story about the world is coming to an end, but there are these characters who are trying to retain some sense of normalcy. Like it hasn't gone full Day of the Dead, where mankind has just gone insane. So I do like that it is sort of this halfway point between what we saw in night and then what we saw in day, where it's like they still have enough resources where they kind of are living a normal life for a little bit inside the shopping mall. And I like that it tackles their relationships, their friendships, and also boredom. Like it tackles them not really kind of knowing what to do after a while in the mall. Like it's like, well, we can go to the arcade.
Yeah.
And just kind of skate around in the ice skating rink. But at the end of the day, through all of that, it is still their home. So even though they have these scenes where their relationship is tested, they kind of butt heads a little bit, they get antsy. It is still theirs. The mall is theirs. It's their home. So like when the bikers come in, I mean, there's still whatever problems they had in there beforehand. It's like they're defending it with their lives.
Yeah.
It's got a frightening atmosphere to it, but it's also really human and it's really funny too. I love it. I can go back to that one anytime.
Yeah. You're just sad there was no zombie baby in the original.
That's why I have Fulci's Zombie 3.
Oh man.
I know people like the remake of Dawn. It's okay. It's got a really good opening scene.
Yeah.
There's a lot of dumb shit in that movie.
Yes,
it really is sort of like, I don't know, let's take everything kind of clever out of Dawn of the Dead, and here's this one. I don't think it's terrible. Admittedly, I'm picky with it because I'm so close to the original, but I don't know. Like, there is no reason for them to try leaving the mall in that movie.
Especially after the dog.
Yeah. It's way better than the remake of Day of the Dead.
Oh yes.
There's things about the Snyder Dawn of the Dead that are good, but I never rewatch it because it's like, well, I'm gonna watch the other one.
Oh, for sure. All right, you ready for your random horror trivia question?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Oh, I pick off the top one. So, all right. What is the stage name for horror movie critic John Irving Bloom, known for hosting Monster Vision and The Last Drive-In?
Oh, Joe Bob Briggs?
Yeah.
Oh,
that was the question.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be like, what is the stage name? I thought it was going to be like, what was Betsy Palmer's stage name when she attended community college back in 1936? Oh, shit. I don't know.
Like I said, I literally just have a stack. I picked the next one off the stack and put it there.
That's awesome.
I'm actually going to be working with Joe Bob
are you?
In June, yeah.
Oh, very cool.
So, all right. So, Brad, before we go, give us your pluggables. Where can people find you if I learn everything about you and pick up your book?
Subscribe to me at youtube.com/Stoned Gremlin Productions. My books, Class of 86 and Bat Pussy, are available on Amazon. You can follow me over on Facebook at facebook.com/The Real Cinema Snob. And I'm on Twitter and Blue Sky and Instagram and all that. I've been pushing the Facebook a lot more. Because a couple of years ago they took down my Facebook page. I don't know why, but I lost like 20,000 followers,
Ooh.
and I've been trying to build that back up. So that's facebook.com/the real cinema snob.
Awesome, Brad. Thank you very much for coming on. Hope you had a good time.
I did. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And follow us on social media at PodOutatNight. We're doing new things. I'm playing retro horror games because I love retro games so much over on our Twitch channel as well. So we'll see you next time. Don't get lost in the void. Good night.